We're live!
Woo woo, woo woo.
Let's do our little weird thing first.
Yes.
Welcome to the BS Show, live from Ghent, Belgium, and where are you at, Austin?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That
God
sounds like
bless
a
the
lovely
internet.
place to be. So today we're gonna be talking a lot of cool stuff, Austin. I don't know if you're ready for
Hmm.
this, but I am.
I'm not.
Let me stop this crap. Okay, it's one of the most annoying Sonic brandings ever. That's what you get with AI people. That's what you get with cheap
With
ass
AI.
solutions.
Hmm.
All
Yep,
right,
yep,
so
exactly.
let, let me quickly switch to my screen because today I'm the one walking you through this wonderful world. Did you see this ad, by the way, Austin?
I did not. I did not. Yeah.
It,
No,
it
like we talked about in our last episode, all of our billboards over here are David Gruber, one call, that's all. So
one call. That's all. Uh, so this ad did the rounds on LinkedIn. It was like lots of people were very like, oh my god, that's so smart. It's like it's a watch, and the copy says, know the time without seeing you have 1,200 unanswered emails. So it's kind of like a witty play on positioning an old technological device on a feature that's not really a feature. Anywho,
right.
I'm a big fan on uh, of out of home advertising. What
Hmm.
do you?
Hmm.
But not per se this one. What do you feel about this ad?
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions I have. Well, one question at least. I don't know what the hell AdSum is. So that's one. Maybe that's like the billboard company. I'm not sure. But um, uh, I also is this style of watch trending right now? Because this looks like it's pretty old school here.
I have
I don't
no
know any
idea.
friends that would buy this watch, but
but if
but
they do, they can know the time without seeing unanswered emails.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So I'll talk about what I like first. So it definitely is novel. It's going to get you to look at it just because it's nice and clean and minimalist, right? And most
Hmm.
billboards, at least here in the United States, are just like so crowded you can't see or read anything, and the logo is usually not on there or it's really tiny, which we'll get to that in a second. But um, I understand the this kind of, in some ways, this new category entry point for watches, which didn't exist before smartwatches existed, but I'm sure is probably a growing um, category entry point for some consumers. The the problem with this is that it's probably not a very common category entry point, I would imagine. Maybe
Hmm.
it is. Maybe, it's hard to get a read on where people are at right now. I don't know what percentage of people have smartwatches these days. If it's a really high percentage, then maybe that's a more common category entry point. I do think, it's clever. It does actually tell you, what solution this watch provides. um, so I think that's all the things I like about it. Let me just think here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think, yeah.
that's I think that's a good analysis. I think first off, I liked the design of it. I mean, it's pretty cool looking thing. It's kind of Apple-ish in its style, just having the products front
Mm-hmm.
and center. I think
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
yeah, biggest issue I have is it's trying to be too clever, and I kind of really
Hmm.
hate that in advertising in general. It's like, oh my god, we have this witty line, and people are gonna all of a sudden realize and see the world in a different perspective. It's like it's
Right.
out of home advertising. This is you're crossing on a highway at I don't know how many miles per hour, and it's not likely you're gonna read it in the first point and then think about it. So what it misses for me is visual direct impact.
Mm-hmm.
I like the cleverness of the positioning. I think it could have been done in a more visual direct way, but
Yeah, I agree.
that's my beef with it. But then obviously on LinkedIn, people started playing around with it. That's what happens
Got it.
all the
That's
time
better.
on LinkedIn. I'm not sure if I even like it better. The layout's kind of ugly and makes it more boring,
Sure.
and it's still like trying to solve it with text. Well, I think they should have been more clever with
Yeah.
that. But that's
Yeah. But you can
that's
read
the
it. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
the two issues I have with it is one, the Timex logo is tiny and in the upper
Yeah.
right hand corner. Um, two, I don't really think Timex has any distinctive brand assets other than their pretty generic word mark here.
Yep.
Obviously, their logo is distinct, or their name is distinct.
Mm.
But also, the biggest issue I have with this billboard is and for two reasons is the type is too small, and I'm not a fan of thin typefaces
Mm.
almost ever, unless you're online and you have the like attention to be able to read
Yeah.
it. It's just not readable. You can't read that, and that's a
Basically,
problem
yeah.
for
It's an ad for
yeah.
designers, right? I mean, that's that.
Exactly. Oh yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, and this it's actually interesting. I was working with a client recently, and she had already picked a designer that we were going to go with. I don't do too much design myself. She'd already picked a designer, and I wasn't really impressed, but I was trying to get her as a client, so I didn't know how attached she was. So anyway, we start working with this designer, and I kind of realized through working with her that thin typefaces are in right now, and yet I think there's such a silly idea for things like this online. It's totally fine if you can
Mm.
read it, but if you're driving down the road at whatever speed, and you're like squinting your eyes to have to read what it says, one, you're not going to really be able to pick up on the message, or you're going to give up really quickly because you only have a really tiny frame of time frame to actually process a
Mm.
billboard ad while you're driving. So you're going to give up really quickly, but also if you don't give up, you might have an accident, and it's in some ways that billboard could actually cause major problems on the roads, right? But I what I was saying is just I've noticed this like thin typeface is really popular right now, and in my opinion, it's almost always a bad idea. Um, yeah, so those are kind of my thoughts there. And now this might
Yeah.
be maybe it's because it's so small, it's not as thin as I think it is. But if you look at the one at the bottom there, the small type, I think is a normal weight for font, and that top one does seem
Yeah.
pretty thin. So that's a big issue.
Maybe it's a title for your next episode. It's like the death of bold. Okay,
Yeah, the
let,
bull, yes.
let's move on. Maybe just
Uh-huh.
to give like what I was saying more visual impact, because I really love these ads. Obviously, they tick all of our lovely boxes, distinctive brand assets,
Mhm.
bold typeface, very
Mhm.
simple, direct, and also what I like about it, I mean, obviously you have the golden arches here. Not a lot of brands have those, so let's not kid ourselves that we can do this with any type of brand.
Right.
But what's interesting to me is it's the like the contextual use of it. It's really like you're close to a McDonald's and here's the next exit, or it's on your left. It's like it's a very smart use of out of home where it's not just this aspirational message of buy me and then forget me
Yeah.
later always, but it's more about like, hey,
Yeah.
you can actually get one right now if you want to go to the left.
Right.
So I think great usage. I love it. Obviously, a typical example of good distinctive ads. This one popped up today. Kirti, very, very interesting person to follow on Twitter. She always puts out a lot of great stuff. And I liked it because actually this is just like I don't know if you noticed this product, this
I did not.
Muller. Yeah, it's just like a, I don't know, yogurt-ish kind of
Okay.
like thing where you peel it off and then you have or chocolatey things or jam or whatever. But it's a
Got it.
very recognizable thing for people that know it. And the billboard's just like a ridiculously close-up thing of the thing. No copy, no smart copy whatsoever. It's just like, hey, just so when you get hungry, this is
Yeah.
what you need to think about. I love it.
Yeah.
Very, very to
Yeah.
the point, very direct. So great example here. But traditional media is dead, Steph. So uh, 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 it's true, right? It's true, right? I mean, digital media is digital advertising specifically is what only works today. No, it's not. Obviously, it's not. And I want to say, I think again, like I'm just fanboying over out of home because I think it's a
Mhm.
great medium, but
Yeah,
it's proved to
it's
be
so it's very poorly executed, at least here where I live, most of the time. But you're right; it is a very effective medium if you can do it
well.
right.
That's the opportunity, right? I mean, that the
Yeah,
fact that you
yeah,
have a lot of
exactly. Yeah,
these like ugly
yep.
lawyers like posing for on benches, that's exactly why it's even like even if you do it poorly, it's still gonna get you a lot of results. But then if you do it like really good, then what happens? I mean, it's only it can only be better, right? And I
Well, I
think,
yeah.
yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, it's just
Well, I was
that.
just gonna say,
No,
yeah, I was just gonna say.
we can do this
I
for an
think you
hour.
under I think you underestimate how bad it is here where I live. I mean, logos are hardly ever present. Text is incredibly hard to read. The visual hierarchy of almost every billboard here is just like ridiculous. You cannot like you can focus on these billboards and still not know what the hell is being advertised. So like it is really bad here, and these are like big
Mm,
companies. These are well established brands that are locally well established brands. Of course, when you see a national brand being advertised, it's almost always way better. But the big brands here locally are almost always missing the mark with their billboards. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any results from a billboard like that. Honestly, I don't know how they're getting results if they are, because you can't even read or tell what's going on. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I should come live over there then because that makes our job a lot easier. But yeah, it's even with the pandemic, I think people are hopefully coming out of home again, and we spend usually around 70% of our time out of home. I don't. Practically live in this basement, but most people do, and so I think it's a great opportunity, even more than like cell phones. And then interesting, I'm just throwing my Twitter friends around, by the way, in this episode, so no worries about that. But I think it's interesting if you start seeing at all the like negative feedback and reports coming out about like digital advertising and the attribution that basically sucks or has been lying to us for a long time. I think it's
yeah,
interesting to see where this type of medium actually has basically the same amount of attribution, which is not a lot. And then
yeah.
today, the plot thickens. Today, this lovely post came up from Shan Biglione, a fellow podcaster, and it was such a hilarious thing. So basically, Meta here is advertising on billboards about how their personalized ads help, in this case Frank's honey get found, and then some so basically digital advertising company is promoting their like personalized ads through traditional media because they probably know that it's the most effective because their own shits their own stuff is
Oh yeah.
garbage.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like how much their own spending on traditional advertising has increased in the last like
Yep.
5 years, they used to not advertise traditional using traditional outlets at all, and now they're like one of the biggest
Big.
advertisers in the world using traditional advertising. So there's obviously a disconnect there that you pointed out.
I love it. I love it. It's also funny. Like the ads aren't personalized at all. I mean, obviously not. It's a billboard, but it's just such a meta thing. Well,
Yeah.
oh my god, double meta. Okay, let's let's move on. So obviously, out of home is a big boat. I mean, there's so many different things. There's just your classical billboard. There's lawyers putting things on benches. I mean, there's digital, there's mobile, but there's also like these more creative out of home, like I like to call them installations. Like this one is really cool where you basically
Oh,
have a
interesting.
the night is coming and then you see Dracula emerge. The
That's
thing
pretty
is with
cool.
yeah, with this one is like these are the typical examples you often see with like out of home, but the problem is like you can't do like 40 billboards across the country. This is one or maybe two, and then
Mhm.
usually what happens is basically they explode it with earned media coverage. So it's just a
Mhm.
way to get
Sure.
press coverage, basically, or
Yeah.
social media sharing and other stuff. So it's also very smart in
Yeah.
that sense that it's not just a traditional medium. It's actually it gets people talking about you. It gets social
Mhm.
traction,
Mhm.
whatever that means. Just another example of again playing with the light, and uh, I have two case studies prepared for you today,
Oh,
Austin.
very
Yeah,
nice.
I'm blazing through it, but yeah, what I don't know if you know Specsavers.
Do not.
I love them. They're a great brand. They use humor very good, but what I love about them the most is they have what you could call a brand platform positioning, essence, whatever kind of term you want to throw on it. That's very like simple, and they can do it in so many different executions. And I just want to show you two. Obviously, here's the out of home one.
Now, what is Specsavers? Is it a grocery store or is it what
Sorry,
is it?
it's a glasses stores.
Glasses. Okay, got it.
So here, yeah, should have gone to Specsavers. The guy missed the billboards, sort of speaking, and then very simple, like very bold type, very a recognizable color logo in there, just like all the ticks
Mhm.
all the
Mhm.
boxes, but it's also like very funny. But they
Yeah.
have this campaign both like in billboards where it's a bit more creative. They also have just normal like static billboards, but then they also have great like online digital video that they use. I wanted to show you one ad just so we can have some laughs with that one.
What? Sorry, mate.
Looks heavy.
Delivery.
This says block 2. It's over there, mate.
Very again, so basically the line is always should have gone to Specsavers, and then they
Mhm.
just figure out some kind of joke about how people aren't
Right.
seeing. Lovely.
Right.
And I for me again, like this is an episode about out of home, but I just love like thinking about these bigger brand platforms that you can then find creative executions digitally, offline, online, and create this like
Hmm. Hmm.
thing about it that really works. Let
Yep.
me skip this one. And then one more thing I wanted to show you is another interesting application of out of home is this brand is called Visible. I don't know
I've been
it.
seeing them lately.
Yeah,
I don't know
they
too
do.
much about them either, but I've been seeing them.
So they do like what's it called, like they're basically they provide you with internet, well, messaging, you get
Hmm.
your phone to be able to send messages, and they had this really funny out of home thing. I don't know if you read the copy, but what it says.
Uh,
No, I
yeah.
mean
I mean, is there? Am I missing something? It's pretty. It's pretty. I can't see the little text that the guys are in
no, no,
front
no,
of,
no,
but
it's in the
oh,
headline. It basically says unlimited massages instead
oh,
of.
I didn't pick up on that. I did
And
not pick up
no,
on that
but the
at
funny the funny thing is like a lot of people didn't see it, but then they had some people like on Twitter saying like, "Hey guys, you messed up, you made a mistake," but then
all.
they actually followed up and they had like free massage centers and city centers where people could get their massages, and they had a couple of these like funny text errors. It's like this very subtle thing, but the cool thing for me is like it works on a basic level. I mean, it's well
Mhm.
designed. It looks like it's just a good ad, but then it also has this extra layer of like some built-in virality, if we can say that. But I think that's
Mhm.
a smart way to combine both, like get people to talk about it socially, but also just make sure that you get your visibility out or get your message out there. So I love that.
Right.
And then let me see here. Oh, wow! I had a surprise for you. I messed it up, but I have this new category I wanted to introduce. at the end of each episode, and it's called. Let me see here. The distinctive. What's happening? Oh, I don't know what's happening. Do you see it? You see it, right?
Our,
Okay, that's
our
good.
our faces are covering up what it says.
Okay. It's
Distinctive
the
asset of the week. Is that what it says?
it's the distinctive asset of the week category, and it goes to eggs. Eggsman this week. It's shout out to Mario who posted it. Sorry, I didn't get his name. Sorry, Mario. But anyways, I love Eggsman. I mean, come on, how good
I've
is
never seen
this?
him before, but he looks like he would work well. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like look at the copy here. It says need eggs. Call Eggsman. I mean, one call. That's all.
Yep. One call. That's all. Get your eggs.
So yeah, I think that was my bit my
Is this? Oh, is this a brand you know about, or is this your friend just found it like while driving?
yeah, it's a British thing. I haven't seen it before, but it's kind of hilarious in a very like untasty way because it looks ugly. But I think like even with this type of almost like tasteless mascot, you could still build on
Yep.
it and do like funny ads with it,
Oh
and
yeah,
it could still become a
totally.
very good platform for this brand. So I love the like
Yeah.
the shabby mascot, but props for trying, man. Props for eggs, man. Oh yeah.
Inspired. Thank you,
Have you ever
Lawrence.
done any like any out of home advertising yourself or
I have
for
not.
clients?
I have not been lucky enough to be able to have a client who could afford to invest too much in traditional media. Unfortunately, I can't wait though. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like even for me as well, it's something that's quite unreachable for smaller brands. But I've heard some like local brand managers I know that have done this on a very small scale, like let's say two or three
Mhm.
billboards for only a few weeks, and it
Yeah,
wasn't that more costly than a digital video campaign, and it turned out
yeah.
really good. So I think it's just something I wanted to share with people. Like it's not per se that much more expensive if you look at it properly.
hmm Yeah, that was the other piece. Is I haven't worked with too many clients who like serve a big enough base necessarily as well to be able to um, yeah, it kind of just depends, but yeah, it's I've often thought about taking my own money and investing it in a billboard. I have often thought about that. I don't work locally. I'm not exclusive to locally in Milwaukee. So but I could be, I guess, if I wanted to be. That's probably what I would do.
That would be
Um,
super funny,
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
Do you remember like the Mr. Beast billboards? I don't know if you saw that one, but it was also very funny. Like he's a YouTuber and he did like
Got it.
a lot of like billboards, and it was super funny. Like he even spent money on billboards for other YouTubers like PewDiePie. Like but like huge billboards getting PewDiePie to I don't know 1 million subscribers or whatever it was.
Hey, I think that is, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to have the right strategy behind making money through YouTube. I know just subscribers alone isn't the greatest thing, but once you get those subscribers, you get a lot of freedom to monetize that. But I think that's a great idea. I mean, if you got the money for it, and even though you're just kind of some YouTuber or whatever, I don't see any problem with advertising yourself. Did you ever see the movie I Love You, Man?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Okay, so it's basically like Paul Rudd and I can't remember the other guys. Jason Segel. Essentially, Paul Rudd is like he has no male friends, and he's about to get married to. He just got engaged to his fiance, and he doesn't have anybody to be a best man in his wedding, and so he like randomly meets this guy played by Jason Segel, who is just like kind of out there and weird and crazy, and kind of gets Paul Rudd out of his comfort zone. And at one point, Paul Rudd he's kind of struggling to get clients. He's a real estate agent, and Jason Segel asks him if he can borrow some money for for him saying that he's having struggles financially,
Yeah.
and then he takes that like $5,000 or $10,000 and he invests it in billboards for Paul Rudd's character without him knowing about it, and all
Oh
of a
my
sudden
god.
Paul Rudd is just getting call after call after call, and he just starts there it is, yeah, he just starts dominating the market as a real estate agent. There it is.
Love
There's all
it.
kinds of really fun and appropriate ones that he bought for him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
And
and
yeah, that's a great idea.
no, and that's the funny thing. Like it could be like one billboard, one day,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
having that and then making like a piece of content about it could be a
Mhm.
lot more like interesting to share than whatever digital ad you're running. And this is something I really I had a chat with Rory Sutherland, I think about a year ago or something, and he talks a lot about like behavioral science. And I think one thing
Mhm.
besides the fact that okay, it's outside, you see it, it kind of gets your attention, is the fact that there's this thing called like costly signaling, where it's like
Mhm.
people
Yep.
kind
Yep.
of realize that seeing a billboard kind of makes you legit, and it's a
Yep.
very like unconscious thing where we subconsciously know that these things cost money. It's the same with TV ads, and thus we immediately trust this brand in a different level than we
Mhm.
could ever
Yep.
do with a digital ad, and that's something I think
Exactly.
we often ignore. So it's a very interesting medium to explore.
Hmm. Yeah. Big fan of that stuff. Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe we should look into some ads for the BS show in the next few months. Some out of home ads, I
I got
mean.
it. Right. 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 Hey, let's do it. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, that was my very like high pitched out of home obsession. So that's it for me this week. I don't know if you want to share
Great.
anything else.
I like your distinctive asset of the week. I've actually had the same idea, but for like, uh, how would you? I don't know what you would call it, but like ridiculous press release of the week. I think that like whenever like an agency releases a brand or even an ad campaign, their press releases are so ridiculously dumb. They like they
Yeah,
try
that's
to
true.
I was just reading one. I was reading one for Toys R Us. If you know about Toys R Us,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
a toy store, and they recently like went bankrupt and closed, um and uh well, I lost my train of thought. Toys R Us. Um,
Did they do like a press announce about a new brand?
Yes, yeah. So it's really funny. This agency, I guess, was tasked with the rebrand for Toys R Us. There you go. Toys R Us has not used this rebrand, which you actually find in the press release at the very end, and they kind of
Oh my
subtly
god.
allude to that fact, um, or at the description at the top.
But
But
here's
the
our
end of the
beautiful
but
mock-ups
yeah,
anyway.
exactly. But like, let's read it here. We got time, right? Do we have time?
Sure.
Let's read this one. This one's hilarious. I can't really. I'm too far away from my computer right now, but if you can read it.
So, yeah, as kids, we were all fascinated by toy shops. Hamley's Disney Store. Toy shops were worlds in which we could get lost on a Saturday afternoon. On September 19, 2017, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy. In March 2018, it liquidated all US store. Yada, yada, yada. In the 6 months leading up to the company's liquidation, the creative consultancy Lippincott connected with Carla Hannison, creative director, in an attempt to refresh the company before it was too late. What? The consultancy created a rebrand that never saw the light of day, obviously. Now, when we look at it, we cannot help but wonder what if. Perhaps this
Oh, that's
nostalgic remodeling would have encouraged perennials to remember their past. That's.
so. This
Oh my
isn't
god.
actually what I was referring to.
Okay.
This isn't the press release itself.
Ah,
That I did not know. I did not know for sure that they didn't actually use the rebrand. I just gathered from the press release because it said something like, now Toys R Us has the tools to
yeah.
rebrand, for whenever they come back online or something along those lines. And I was like, in other words, they did not pull the trigger
But
on the
like
rebrand, and
how
yet they
does
are
that
advertising.
how does that work? Because basically they Lippincott probably charged like a $500,000 or I don't
I'm
know what
sure.
kind of
Yeah,
number for
yeah,
this, and they basically already realized like probably not gonna make it, but hey, gonna
yeah.
have a nice picture.
exactly.
It's a
The
cool
fun,
brand though.
it is. No, see, here's the thing. Visually, it's great. It totally leverages their distinctive asset in the R there. There's definitely it's a visually it's a great brand, and that's what's so funny is the press release is so bad, even though the brand is good, and that's why I found so funny. So let's see here.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yes.
thinking about this other brand as well that did like a logo reveal. It's called Staples, I think. Logo
Yeah,
reveal.
Staples. Yeah, yeah,
That was so hilarious. Yeah, this one. Did you see the
yeah.
video? Let's just play it quickly.
I have not seen this.
It's just it's the best logo reveal ever.
Why are we in somebody's mouth? That's what that looked like.
That's the old logo, right?
Right, right.
Woohoo. And now they're gonna zoom in on something.
Oh, what are they gonna do with it? Oh,
Oh my god.
oh no!
Oh my god, they have a sans serif logo.
Oh, they all clap. Where did this video play? Why are these people so excited?
I think it's the fireworks and the big screens that do the
Right,
work, because
right.
if you would I like really like show this in just a like a dry like, hey Austin, can you come sit next to me? I have this thing on my screen, and you just show like the little leg go. I mean, you can't imagine it working, and somehow they like just bombastically do it, force it down people's throats so they get excited about it.
Yep.
It looks to me like a very like American thing to do, like
Yes. Have you seen the I'm probably gonna say his name wrong, but Saji Haviv
yeah.
TED Talk where he talks about logo designs and where he like basically shows them the logo, tells the story about he showed them the logo and they were like, I don't like it, I don't get it, and then he just made some cheesy like 3D video to show them the logo,
Yeah.
and they were like, it's amazing.
It's really how it goes. I think a lot of times you have
Yeah.
to invest more money in the intro video than
Yep.
you have
Yep.
to do in like the actual work for the rebrand. But yeah, Staples,
Like-
great. I mean, it's amazing, right?
Well, we can discuss the Toys R Us press release next week. I'll find it for us and we can break it down. But the funniest part is just like how they describe, essentially, instead of saying we found a distinctive asset in the backwards R, we leveraged it, and now it's flexible and adaptable, and that's how we're using it. They just make up this whole ridiculous story about what it represented to parents and how perennials are the new target, and it's really bad.
It's very cute, but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
something a category I'm looking forward to do, and I'm looking forward to what you come up with next week.
Yep, we'll see. We'll see.
All right,
Keep it a surprise.
let's tune out with the lovely tunes.
Oh,
A
here
little
we go.
bit. I'm thinking we'll be back in about 2 weeks with another episode. So thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, guys. Oh, as always, show the duck.
Show the duck.
We haven't really introduced that concept yet, but essentially, we have a duck.
It's in
You
the
need a
corner.
duck. Show it.
Show your
Show the
ducks. Take care, man.
duck.